Hello again, it's me, Hatman, and it's Sunday the 17th of January 2010, and this is my first message of the year. Much of the Northern Hemisphere is emerging from a cold and icy Christmas season. As I said before, I don't keep Christmas myself, and the false festivities have well and truly come to an end with the horrendous earthquake that's hit Haiti. I think they've buried about 50,000 people already, and the experts now are that the final death toll may be between 100 and 200,000. Haiti is the poorest country in its region and been plagued by corrupt government and political and criminal violence. I mean, it's one of the most awful places that you could want to be. It's no stranger to natural disasters either. I mean, I think they've had about 4 hurricanes in the past decade. So why they needed an earthquake, God only knows. Now, despite all the international responses and pledges of support led by America and President Obama, they're still begging and crying and pleading on the streets of Port-au-Prince, that's the capital there, for these much needed and urgently required supplies. Things like water, food, shelter, all the things that you need after devastation that they've been through. Well, I don't know if you saw it, there was that clip that was on YouTube, it was one of the first bits that came out, where this eyewitness of the earthquake as it actually happened was filming, I think probably on a phone, and she said, the world is coming to an end. And I suppose if you were in Port-au-Prince at 5 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon, it did come to an end. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Those who survived, the collapsed concrete structures and weren't crushed to death, wandered around injured. The hospitals and other places that they would have naturally gone to for help, they were destroyed as well. And the poor victims are just dying on the streets in their droves. Against this sea of suffering and cesspool of human misery, it would seem counterintuitive, even stupid or insane to say, God help Haiti. But I'm saying, God help Haiti. I mean, some people would say, well, if God wanted to help Haiti, he wouldn't allow the earthquake in the first place. You can't argue with that. I mean, and the other thing is, the places that were hardest hit were the places they needed, like the hospitals and the UN headquarters. But what about, and the presidential palace was destroyed as well. But what about the prison? Apparently the prison was unscathed. 4,000 rabid prisoners escaped with knives and stayed to terrorise the traumatised people of the capital even further. I can see how some people would say, well, where's God in that? And yet, I think it would be churlish, even superior of us, to deny those people in Haiti, many of them who are faithful, I think some of them, quite a lot of them would be Catholics, they believe that God's going to deliver and help them, and if that belief is the thing that keeps them going through this dreadful, dreadful experience, who are we to deny them that? What we can do, however, besides praying for them, is give them support. I mean, I was quite encouraged to hear that within 24 hours, the Disasters Emergency Committee here in Britain, about 13 charities, including Save the Children, CAFOD, CARE, a lot of the big organisations, Oxfam, have raised over £10 million in just 24 hours. I feel blessed to have been able to contribute towards that. I know not everybody's got lots of spare cash they can spend, but even if we can spend £1 or £2, I mean, go and have a bottle of Coke or, a chocolate bar for a day or two, and that's going to make a big difference to those people over there. If this terrible event does anything other than obviously take a lot of people's lives and cause a lot of human misery for people, it might draw our attention, those of us who are lucky enough to live in the West where we don't suffer these kind of events too often, occasionally, I know in Italy and places like that. If we focus our attention on those who are least able to sustain these kind of catastrophes, because they were a poor, destitute country before this happened, it's even worse now. So our attention's on them now. If we can give them support and some money, then some good will come out of what is a terrible, terrible event.
God is in his heaven looking down on us all. He sees the things we do and he hears us when we call. He doesn't always answer us, but we cry out in pain. But when we keep his words, yes, he will hear us again. Look around our world and we see sore distress. We can't resolve our problems, though we're doing our best. Feel my tears, I'm crying. Please hear my clarion call. If we can't save ourselves, then pray God saves us all. God save the whales, the fish in the sea. God save the tigers, the birds and the bees. God save the animals, they hunt for their horns. God save our children before they are born. God save the forests, please God save the soil. God save our creatures being covered by oil. God save the panda and the poor polar bear. God save our ozone and God save our air. God save the nations from the scourges of war. God save